from a couple of years on, things are real horrible here in New York, all over.
You're dealing with a lot of people that are maniacs today.
You're dealing with an individual who's very basic, who only knows two things, rip off or be ripped off.
Many of those who make good by being bad are nowhere to be seen these days.
I'd be afraid. Of course I'd be afraid. He's a sick guy. He'd kill anytime.
There isn't anything on earth that I will hide from or back up from.
People seem not to understand the close relationship between organized crime and street crime. And certainly in dealing with street crime in his area or any other kind of crime, the uniformed patrolman.
So all the lawyers that worked so hard in this case were on trial for 9 months. We're 3 weeks from an acquittal, all 10 defendants, and the government abandoned the case.
How many times he's done that? He's so mad, that fed up, that I would attack him.
Yo, that intro is fucking long, guys. I gotta shorten that one. Maybe I don't know. That's why I get a couple of hate comments lately about that shit. Yo, your intro's too long, bro. Anyway, what's going on, people? Listen, Pete is late. He's probably not going to be till another 10 or 15 minutes. I want to say hello to everybody. It's been a while since I've came on and did a live. It's been a while since you guys got to see Pete, Mickey Griggs, David Price, of course, Roro, Ruby, Pete D. And Shari, who else is here? Swish Rips, my man. What's good? David Price. So I have a special guest who will be hanging out with us for a little bit before Mr. Peter the Pick LaFrosia joins. That is Quentin Walker of the Darkness Underneath podcast. He just dropped an episode recently, so maybe we'll talk about a little bit about that. And well, let me just add him to the stage, Mr. Quentin Walker of the Darkness Underneath. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
How
You
have
look
you
like
been?
you look like you've been sleeping for fucking 7 days. What's going on?
Yeah, I had to get a lot of sleep. I took a fucking Ambien and it knocked me out for like 15, 16 hours. I'm not doing that again. Hey,
Anyway, what's going on with you?
It's
You
been
just dropped a new episode. You're talking about. I saw you talking about. You were talking about the Gentili brothers. You were speaking about the death of Peter Calabro, which obviously the Iceman tried to take credit for, and he tried to frame Sammy the Bull Gravano for. I have my opinions as to why he would do that, other than the Iceman's a lying fucking piece of shit. But you want to add anything about that?
Yeah, Paul Froni just called me the other day. I was gonna talk to him about. I think I figured out when you were talking with Pete last time, and talking to Agent Anthony Nelson. I think I figured out exactly what the connection was there. He was selling. So Iceman was running a burglary ring, and I think he stole the machine gun, which might have been later used in a hit on Castellano's son-in-law. Remember, Roy had a machine gun. According to Freddie, he had he had bought a machine gun from Iceman. So, and that's the only thing he ever came up as far as he definitely wasn't doing hits for Roy, anything like that. Roy would have never let that dude in. He had a big fucking mouth, and it's not like that's somebody you can even trust. But they might have bought a machine gun in the Gemini Lounge because there were guns going in and out of there all the time. And that's probably how he knew he was. And then the rest, you can make all that shit up with just what you knew in the news. How come your mic just died? What's going on here? Let's see here. What the fuck? Hold on, your mic just died. Your microphone died. I can't hear you.
Oh, I muted myself. That's why I'm the moron.
Okay.
I muted myself. I like to mute
That
myself when
freaked
other
me out
people
for
are
a moment.
talking. Yeah, I always do that. It's a bad habit. Anyway, the interesting thing with the whole Iceman is when he starts talking about and trying to frame Sammy for that, it's around the time that Sammy's getting in trouble for the ecstasy. Sammy's back in the news. Iceman is a fame whore. He loves to fucking tell stories HBO going into that documentary initially is asked about, asking people like Frank Pergola and other people about the Iceman, and they're telling HBO like, this is bullshit. Like, you guys are really making this fucking documentary, and they're like, yeah, whatever. We're gonna buy the story. We believe it, and yeah. So my opinion on the whole thing is that the Iceman was taking advantage of Sammy being back in the news, and that's basically why he did it, to get more HBO time. Whatever the fuck it is. Are you frozen? This guy's a statue. Look at him. Anyway, what is your guys' opinion on that? The Iceman that gave the same guy that gave Tony pizza. I'm gonna remove you for a minute, Quentin. Figure out what's going on. Oh, he's gone. All right. Yo, corruption. What's going on? Cindy, what's going on? Oscar Madison, Fish 2024. What's going on? Jace. Oh, Eastwood. What's going on? Yeah, guys, check out my as somebody commented up there. Maybe Roro can drop the link. Yeah. I thought my intro was long. Yeah, you're right. Gunsmoke's intro was like fucking 5 hours. Yeah, 52 topics with Frank Fiorellino. We dropped episode 1 on Friday night. As of now, it's 2 days up. By the morning, it should have about 3,000 or more views. I really can't complain, starting a new channel, trying new shit, see what's up, How wild was the guy who thought he could stiff Roy and the other main guy? I guess he was slitting the. Oh yeah, you're speaking about the Charles Mongatori and the Daniel Scudero situation. Yeah, Quentin added a lot of context to that situation as far as Mongatori's ability to cheat death up until he met a group of individuals who did not allow people to cheat death. If they wanted you dead, you were going to be dead. We're going to be speaking to somebody tonight who is very friendly with those guys, who got indicted with those guys. The Iceman was never involved in my opinion. He was one. Yeah, he was a fucking wannabe. He was a wannabe in a sense that he wanted to be with the mobsters, the Italian mob. But he wasn't a wannabe criminal. He was, in fact, a criminal. He was a piece of shit. Killed 5 people and did what he did, But yeah, I guess Quentin got kicked. I'm still waiting on Pete. Pete will show up sooner or later. But let's see. Yeah, Roro, drop the link. Guys, do me a favor, go over there to that channel. That's a new podcast that I started with Frank Fiorellino. I was gonna put it on this channel, and then literally at the last minute, like the night before we are gonna drop it, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just start a new channel. Let's start a new channel and try to I don't know, take a shot, take a chance, And I like the reception so far. On Thursday, I believe Thursday night we agreed. I know that was a Friday drop, but I believe Thursday night we're going to be dropping our episode 2, and it is going to be on the year 1986. Me and Frank, we're going to be talking about the Howard Beach racial incident that occurred in December of 1986, the death of Michael Griffith. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the preppy killer Robert Chambers. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the amazing Mets, the Miracle Mets of 1986, and we're going to be talking about some notable mafia occurrences, Italian organized crime occurrences that occurred in the year 1986. And we'll be doing more of that. We're going to pick years that we're going to run down, significant New York City years. We'll do 77 probably. Probably get Manny on for like a 77. Blackout, Son of Sam. I'll probably get Manny Grossman on for that one. But yeah, man, it's gonna be fun, dude. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. And like I was saying before, I was gonna put it on this channel, and then I decided, like, let's see if we got what it takes to fucking do our own thing and start from the ground up, Quentin said he got kicked by the Wi-Fi. Okay, that's fine, man. I don't have my mouse, so forgive me if this is like shaking a little bit. Quentin is seemingly back. Yo, Quentin, what's up?
Sorry, the Wi-Fi could go out at any second. I'm actually in the process of getting a new service.
Okay, what do you got? That Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile? You got that 1998 plan?
I don't know what it is. I know that it makes me want to throw my laptop across the room.
Remember James Earl Jones used to do those Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile? Remember that
Yeah.
or no?
I remember that shit. That was back in the 90s, wasn't it? Or
Yeah, that's when I was a
2000s?
kid. Yeah, I was a kid. I was probably in elementary school. Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile. Shout out. James
Either way, I
O'Jones.
would tell you that my theory is far more plausible than any of the shit on HBO that he claimed.
Oh, for Iceman?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he just sold him a gun. That came from Nelson,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
I don't know what I wish to God Roy was alive in prison, not out killing people so that I could ask him. But,
Yeah, well, he'd be 84 years old today.
yeah, with his health, it doesn't seem like it's likely he would have lived that long. It seems like he would have died in the 90s.
Yeah, either that, yeah, or he might have made the millennium and had a fat heart attack or something.
Actually, you know what? In prison, people usually get in shape because they've got like their health people or there's a doctor on call at all times and they can't eat garbage all the time.
Right.
Because they've got like their health people or there's a doctor on call at all times and they can't eat garbage all the time.
Are you repeating?
Any word on Pete, by the way?
No, not yet. He's trying to get on. Maximilian says Anthony and Joey could be watching this stuff. I wonder who could get them to talk. Or yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if they are. If they are, that would be interesting. If they're not, they're not. I don't know what to say.
I know that
about.
either they or their friends do watch this stuff.
Okay. And you know what? We just try to play it straight down the middle. Whatever. It is what it is.
Anthony and Pete were almost as close as the twins were to each other. Like Anthony and Pete were really close, according to court documents. They grew up together.
All right, Pete's behind the scene. He's about to come out. All right, Quentin. I'll stay in the chat. All right, don't leave.
Okay, yeah, I will do. Tell Pete I said hi.
Okay, we'll do. All right, let me get to your questions. Pete will be up in a minute. The Real Honest Truth. Great channel. We love this stuff in the UK, Brooke. Thank you. Great Real Honest Truth. That is some real honest truth. Ha ha ha. Maximilian didn't know that darkness. Thanks. Okay. Pete is setting up. Prison is no healthy environment. Yeah, I'm glad that I was never there. I never had the balls to do everything I wanted to do, everything I wished I could do. Let me just give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Pete's behind the scenes. He'll be on in a second. Give me 1 second. All right, Pete's going to be a couple more minutes. I spoke to his niece. She's helping him out. He'll be on in a couple more minutes. He's going to get himself a drink. I see him behind the scenes over there. Let's see. Any more questions? Anybody have any questions? As a matter of fact, before Pete comes on, you guys can load up the chat with the questions. I have a couple of questions that I'm going to ask Pete, the things that I want him to speak about, but not a whole lot. So I want to rely on anybody that's in the chat here tonight. Maybe give us, questions. Por favor. I don't know what I'm doing on here. We're competing with Donald Trump at the Garden. What else we got? What is it? Sunday? We got football. I think there's some baseball tonight. I'm not sure. No, I am Maximilian. I know. I understand. Trying to mitigate it. It's it's tough. It's tough. We'll fix it. It's not for lack of trying. It's not for lack of trying. Promise you that. Pete, give me the thumbs up if you're ready. Put your thumb up. Thumbs up. What is that? The fuck is that? Thumbs down. Okay. Give me the middle finger if you're ready. Are you ready, Pete? I can't read you. Oh god. Oh, he's ready. Oh, all right. Let's see this guy. Whoa.
That's a big thumb up, man.
That's a big thumb. You've been hitchhiking lately? What's going on?
What's going on? Anyway, by the time I finish, the show will be over.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Pete the Pick, LaFrosia, Mr. Mysterious, Mr. Don't Call Me LaFrosha, LaFrosia. How you doing, Pete?
Well, right about now, it's probably the most unstressful part of my day. Sitting down, talking to you.
Thank you. Hey, that's an honor.
Very, very, very hectic. Oh, I still got my work hat on.
Very hectic day.
How's everybody out there today? Hope you're all doing well and good and fine.
He can hear you?
Things.
Yeah, you sound good, Pete.
Okay, good. Bye.
You're not Pete.
Bye, Danielle. You sound good, Pete. You look good.
Thank you, buddy. Comes.
What are you saying? What do you think? You saying you don't look good? Well, what are you feeling down?
I ain't gonna change nothing. If I don't look good, I do look good. It's me. It's all that matters.
Pete. All right. What do we got? This guy's name is The Mafia Doesn't Exist. That's his handle on YouTube. Any chance of writing a book about your life?
I'm sure there's a lot of chances. I just haven't had the time, believe it or not. By the time I find time, my life will be over.
How would you start that book, Pete? How would you start that book?
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time in Brooklyn. That sounds like a bad low budget movie. Once upon a time in Brooklyn.
Yeah. And a lot more donations to make it a high budget movie.
There you go. Yeah. And if anybody does want to contribute to the channel, to the chat, all these Roro can drop my Cash App, or you can leave a super thanks. All these donations that we do for this channel with Pete gets half of that. Actually, sometimes he gets a little more, to be honest with you. I mean, just being honest. But anyway, let's get to it, Pete. And I'll get you guys load up all your questions, and I'll get to you soon. Pete, I have a question that I want to ask you. And then it's another question that I want to ask you after this is something out. Obviously, we have a lot of questions. But something that you mentioned before, and when I brought it up in one of our episodes that we pre-recorded, when I brought it up, you say, yeah, maybe we'll save that for another time. Well, I think this is that other time, if you don't mind. In the late 70s, as we spoke about before, you had been arrested. They had charged you with a double homicide in relation to John Quinn and Sherry Golden. A charge that you beat twice. But I want to go to the initial charge in the late 70s incident with Sherry Golden and John Quinn. You got locked up. They were holding you, hoping to throw you away for the rest of your life. And somebody in the Roy DeMeo crew, somebody who you knew since you were a teenager, threw on the table in front of everybody, I think it's time to whack Peter LaFrosia. I really want you to talk about that because I haven't got you to open up about that.
Well, the truth behind that is I wasn't there at the time, of course, because it would have been a whole different story if he said something like that while I was there. But Harvey, Chris, whatever you want to call him, brought it up at the table. You know, Pete's been being charged with a double homicide. And truth of the matter is, how well do we know Pete? So he was putting me on the table as to say, maybe it's time to get rid of me, you know? And a couple of gentlemen at the table stood up and said, are you crazy? So what are you saying? Every time that we get in trouble or get locked up for something like this, you're going to whack us? They were really tripping out over it. And Roy said, I know Pete a long time. He's been charged with a lot of things, and he's never, ever once told on anything. He said, so we have got that thought. You better get rid of it because that thought will get you somewhere you don't want to be. Roy said at that time, he says, I'm telling you guys, I am the body. These are my arms and legs. And if I thought of anyone with my arms and legs were no good, I'd cut it off. and Pete's 100%. And so little Chris Harvey got scolded, you know. They were very upset about that, him even putting that out there like that, you know. But that's when you're scared of going to jail, you know. You never been there before, you know. I don't think he would have made it in there anyhow. Yeah, he might have. Somebody sissy had blonde hair and stuff. He would have like shaved his legs. He would have been good. Yeah.
So Harvey Chris Rosenberg, I assume this happened in the back of the Gemini Lounge at a meeting,
Right.
maybe a Friday dinner of some sorts or whatever it was.
Yes, it was dinners. And one of the days.
He puts on the table, I think it's time that we whack Pete. Obviously, from what you're telling me, Roy and everyone else didn't really take a liking to that idea. But you know what I find interesting, Pete, and just from an outsider's perspective, you know, there's like these reports of like, I believe Frank Pergola and whoever was there to go to Harvey's house after Harvey's body was discovered. He goes to Harvey's wife's house, and I'm talking about Harvey Chris Rosenberg. And who's that crying, Joey or Anthony or whoever? Somebody has tears in their eyes, and I don't know if they're acting or this is reported by the police, Pete. But I do get the sense that Harvey is maybe not the most liked individual. And I find it interesting that they would go back to you, one individual, whoever that may be, would go back to you and tell you that, hey, you know, this fucking guy put on the table that he wants to kill you. I would almost think that would make you want to kill him.
Well, you know what? You're probably 100% right. Look, I always believed in this. I wasn't put here on earth for somebody to hurt me if I know about it. I'm there to defend myself. You know, and I told you the three things. I'll do that for myself, for my family, and somebody I call my friend. No, I was very upset, but you got to take into consideration that the boss scolded him, you know what I mean? And I knew there was nothing he would do after what Roy told him, you know, no which way, you know what I mean? That was it. And tell you the truth, a couple of guys said, you know what? Let's reverse the script here, you know? You know, he wasn't liked at all. Roy's the only one that really truly liked him. I heard them say if they could dig him up and kill him again, they would, you know? So how much could he be liked? But, you know, like I said, he's the mascot, you know?
The mascot.
Like, yeah. He sat at Roy's side, you know what I mean? I knew him a long time. And he kind of like impressed him, I guess. You know, if Roy would have known him on the streets where he was without the gun, you know what I mean? You know, girls beat him up. How's that? I seen a girl beat him one time at a bar.
Yeah. But what, I mean, Roy made him that way. No, isn't that the point?
Well, some dogs you can teach tricks, and when you teach them tricks, they learn right away, and they want to learn more and more and more. You know, you get more aggressive at that same trick over and over and over until it becomes part of their everyday life.
Right.
And I believe that's what happened with him. You know what I mean? Once he found that power, the monster came out.
I want to say thank you to Maximilian for the $4.99 super sticker. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you so much. James C says his grandfather lived 6 houses from DeMeo's house in Massapequa Park on the water. Wow, nice neighborhood there, James.
Yeah, really nice.
Nice area. Still a nice area.
Grandpa had it going on.
Back in Matza Pizza. I mean Massapequa. Matza Pizza, as some people call it, Pete. Simon 11 says, was Roy using his water? I don't know if Pete would know about that, but Simon did mention
very much.
Yeah,
No,
Simon did mention something before, Pete. I don't know if you know anything about, because Quentin, he's all deep in the court documents about pot smuggling, using boats, maybe something to do with Anthony Casso. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about that or if you want to talk about it.
I got a feeling that there's an article in High Times magazine one time talking about a situation where a boat had made it into Jamaica Bay and it's being unloaded, and all of a sudden, like, they became raped. They didn't catch nobody, but they found everything that was there. They found hot coffee and pig's knuckles on the table. That happened because, from what I understand, they were pulling the boat in, and they couldn't get it to go into reverse to stop for the dock.
Wait, you're saying Roy's boat made it into High Times magazine? The
I'm not
story?
saying Roy's boat. I'm saying a boat.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I get it.
But it was the whole thing about that was, some guy thought he was Roy Rogers. So he tried to lasso a dock, and when he lassoed it, that boat wasn't stopping. That snapped that pull on that dock. It sounded like a cannon, and everybody called it this heavy duty fire in the neighborhood. And the cops came running.
That's interesting.
That's a true story. It's
I
probably
got to look into that one.
High Times magazine, sure do.
I want to say thank you to Pasta Patate, Pete, $4.99 from Pasta Patate, and we have a Cash App, Pete. Actually,
thank you very
from
much.
A follower here, from named Roro, one of my moderators, the great Roro. She sent us $100. She said 50 for you and 50 for me.
God bless you, young lady.
That's Roro. She's been helping me for a couple of years now, Pete. She's really great. She's really generous, and I consider her a friend and really the best, Roro. There's another question up here, and I know you know the answer to this question, Pete. And then I'm going to ask you something else, another historical question. Somebody asked up top, and I think you know the answer right away, Pete. How many years in the Slammer did Roy do in his life?
How many years did he do in the Slammer?
Yeah.
None.
Right. Big fat zero. How many nights, Pete?
I can't remember any that I remember.
Probably none, right?
Probably.
Master criminal or just lucky?
Let's see. I got lucky. Master criminal. I'm gonna have to say luck. Luck had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So.
Okay. Yeah, David, none. Then the only reason why he has that mugshot that you see, David, was because they brought him in for questioning in regards to the Empire Boulevard operation in out in Newark. That's why when you see the mugshot, it says Newark on the thing that he's holding. It's not New York City. They brought him in there. He had to take a picture, and that's going to lead into the next question that I want to ask you, Pete. Let's see, I wrote it down before. It's 1980 was the... Yeah, so in 1980, in the spring of 1980, they raid the Empire Boulevard, 445 Empire Boulevard, right?
Correct.
And they get all the cars at the pier, and they end up taking in Broadway Freddy, Henry Borelli. They're going to get caught up for this. So run that down for me when they raided the Empire Boulevard Operation Warehouse. Do you remember when you heard about that, and was anybody looking for you?
No, not for me, but I heard that all came through Vito Arena. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He was snitching all along, and being prepared himself. When he got busted for robbing their doctors and dentists, and him and his boyfriend, Jolie, whatever his name was.
Joey Lee, yeah.
He was basically putting little bits of information into their heads until he finally said, I'm so-and-so. He finally told them who he really was. And what made him believable is the barrel when they found Joe Scorney in that barrel in San Mauritius, I can't understand that. He's a guy who killed a guy, and he's telling other people. What I can say. The world works in a strange way, and the government even stranger.
Yeah. So Henry and Henry Borelli and Broadway Freddy, they would get 5 years for this. Henry maybe didn't know it at the time, but he was getting a lot more than 5 years. He wasn't going to get any time out. Freddie becomes a cooperator, as many of you know. When those guys get sentenced in 1981, what's going on? What's going on in 1981?
Everybody's, backed off this car thing and stuff. It was a tremendous deal if Vito just kept his mouth shut.
Vito,
2 years, nobody would have had to work ever again. But what happened actually is everybody went back to what they were doing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that was their only egg in the basket. So they all had things to fall back on, that they were more reliable, more dependable. And that Vito probably didn't know about. Because if he knew about them, they would be no more reliable and no more dependable.
Right.
It's a shame, really is. You know, if you
So
think
you're
about
saying,
if you think about it, the only three guys that came into this so-called group while I was away was Vito, Freddie, and what's his name? His brother's name,
Richie?
Richie. And what they all turned out to be? All turned out to be rats.
Yeah.
We kept it the way it was. Who knows? God only knows what was going on. Might have owned their own Buick dealership, real. And then that, you know, I don't know. I don't know what happened. You know how that could have happened.
Well, that's the problem, Pete. I mean, he was probably bringing in too many people. I mean, because he's trying to steal so many cars. I mean, there's only so many LaFroches to go around. You know what I'm saying? That's why you start bringing in all these other guys. You bring in Vito, and then he's bringing in his boyfriend. He's stealing cars with his boyfriend, and then you got Richie, whoever friends he's bringing in, and Freddie is who he is, I guess. I mean, that's Roy's whole problem as a whole, though, right, Pete? He's just involved with too many things with too many fucking people.
He got, you know, because they were local guys, Freddie and Richie, you know what I mean?
Right.
I can understand. But what this guy Vito came at it, it's a hole in the wall. It's just, when you think about it, you know, three of them together. It's just, if you were not knowing them at all and you met them straight up, you know, and you were in this sort of business, you have to be very leery of them. You know why? Because they brag too much on themselves. Too much of this, I can do too much of that, I do it. How's the old saying going? You know, give thoughts in the mouth. I don't understand how they got so, like you said, maybe they needed them, but I don't know.
Right.
You know,
right.
It was a bad thing that they did. And that's it. So.
Yeah, James C. He got caught out in Port Jefferson having Chinese food with his boyfriend, Joey Lee. If you want to see where that happened, James C., you can go to this channel right here, NYC Crime Spot. I do on-location videos. That was one of the locations, James C. Also to the pier in Santa Mauritius. Sean WH, was Roy DeMeo... I guess was Roy DeMeo quite liberal towards gays? I guess he's assuming that's why he didn't have a problem with Vito being around. Is that that really didn't bother him?
You know, I guess not. You know, think about it. He just.
But that really wasn't. That didn't play into it as to why he did what he did. I mean, he did what he did because whatever.
No, I don't believe that at all. You know what I mean? Listen, you can be quite gay as anybody, as anything in the world, but you can still be a man and do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's fucking guys that do rivets on bridges that, you know, risk their life every day and they're gay. That doesn't mean because of that handle they put on that they're not a man in what they do, kind of work they do, or their integrity. They just prefer something that other men don't prefer. They have their choice in that matter.
James is bringing up that Anthony and Joey got out. Yes, they did. We spoke about this on other uploads also, James. Check those out, too, if you haven't. Me and Pete have done conversations that are not live. They're pre-recorded, where we talk about a lot of things more structured than these conversations. This is kind of just, you know, for everybody over here to be able to talk to Pete, ask him some questions. Let me see who else is coming through here. Simon, so many questions, Simon. I gotta pick one. I guess this one is good. So, Pete, you were stealing cars for Roy, right? But you were also doing your own side stuff, also. Like, what was the deal?
Correct. You know, I did my own thing. I freelanced a lot. You know what I mean? As long as I met my quota, I'm sure, you know.
All right, interesting. What was your quota? Was this Roy's quota, or was this a quota that you had in your head to satisfy yourself?
In my head, you know, I mean, basically, you know.
Okay.
You know, no matter what somebody else did, I know I always did more. So I figured that was it, you know. I mean,
just put money in your pocket, yeah. And you were getting $100 a car usually?
Such shit money today. Forget about about
shit money.
50, yeah. But the whole thing with that thing, I think that was going to be like whole different. Everybody's gonna get a piece of the pie at the end. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
everybody just basically put their time in for whatever the eventuality was going to be at the end of that. You know, which would have been quite nice from what I understand. So.
Yeah, because when they yeah, so when they did bust them at the port and at the Empire Boulevard warehouse, they busted them for 100 cars.
Right.
And that was the 100 cars that they caught. I mean, imagine how many. I mean, you would know. I mean, and I'm sure that some of those 100 cars they busted from you probably had your hands on them. Some of them at some point, I assume. I mean, you went to prison for it. I know you could talk about it.
Check this out. They found a car. I think it was in Kuwait, buried in the sand with a thumbprint on it for Richie.
Really?
Buried in the sand. I just couldn't believe that. That was a 1 in a million shot.
That's wild. That's wild.
And I think that's what really led them to him, you know, besides his stupidity. You know.
Pete, what were some other guys that were around at that time? Do you remember? The Mafia doesn't exist. He says, were other Gambinos around the Gemini? He mentions Frankie DeCicco. I don't know if you knew him personally.
Yeah, Frankie was a great guy, really good guy. You know what I mean? He would have been perfect underboss. Believe me.
Yeah.
John would still be here. Yeah. But unfortunately.
Yeah. Who are the other guys that were around, though? Even if they're other families, you know, whatever. Is there anyone in particular that you remember? Any faces?
Who would stop it? No, I'm trying to think of some of the guys, you know. Frankie DeCicco, you know.
Yeah.
Once in a while, what was it? Vic, Bobby Nicio.
Vic and Bobby. Okay. Musso, yeah.
Trying to think who else, really. Not too many stopped over at the club. Usually we see them when we're out of the club, basically running into them and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
You know, right? Nobody really liked that fly trap.
Nobody liked that fly trap?
No. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's, yeah, I mean, that goes back to what I asked you a long time ago, Pete. I said, you know, because there's people that talk nowadays that were like associates back then or whatever, and they're like, they pretend that everybody knew that this thing was going on, whatever was going on. And I guess maybe some did and some didn't, or some just ignored it. Is what it is.
Just not touching on your grounds, you know.
Yeah.
What could you possibly do about it? Either you believed it or you didn't believe it, and you just keep your mouth shut. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a normal everyday thing at that place. But yeah.
So I don't know if you could answer this question. If this is the Brandon I think it is, we will speak soon. I hope you're not offended. If this is the one that I spoke to you on the phone about, he says if you could offer us anything else on Mikey Muscles. As far as, I mean, you could read that right there. They said that he lost his life somewhere outside of the Gemini Lounge. I don't think you know anything about that, but but I guess, you know, they talk about it. They talk about it in the book, what happens to him. Basically, no love lost there. Nobody in the neighborhood was going to miss that guy, right?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, they probably put up flags. I mean,
they probably put up flags.
Yeah. You're in your own neighborhood. You're going around robbing people, and while you're robbing them, you're sodomizing their girlfriend's time. Come on, man.
Yeah.
They would probably praying that someday it would happen.
This is a good question, Pete. You know, nowadays, we think back to the time when you were running the streets, people think about certain crews. The DeMeo crew. Oh, my God. Was there any other crews that you remember that had a name to them that you remembered, that you knew a lot of guys from?
Crew. Jimmy Burke's crew.
Jimmy Burke crew.
Yeah.
You knew a lot of those guys, huh?
Yeah. We had a good crew. We had a real good crew for a while there. And
how about Vario crew, which is basically kind of Jimmy Burke, right?
Yeah, I used to like Paulie. Paulie was a good guy.
Yeah.
To me, he was like a grandfather guy, you know what I mean? In that kind of situation, you know what I mean? Hey, Paulie, I got a question for you. How does this work? Yeah, sit down, I'll tell you. All right.
Right, 'cause you would hang out at the junkyard a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Bargain Auto, right?
yeah. You know, Kefkins was like his headquarters, I guess you imagine. You know what I mean? We had a good check cashing business there for all the workers. You know, didn't want to wait online. He'd go there to cash them. A lot of ins and outs there, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure you were locked up for the marijuana smuggling, but do you remember hearing about the gold bug, Eugene Gold, when he put the bug in the trailer and he got all those people caught up with the subpoenas?
Across the street from the high school, right? I think
Right
that
across
was.
from the high school. Yep.
Yeah, I remember him.
They bugged the trailers and they got everybody on that.
Yeah.
You know, they ended up in that case. They ended up trying to charge him with. There was a bunch of like Korean women's slacks or something that were coming from overseas, and they ended up one of them fake hijackings when the truck driver, oh please, yeah, okay, they pretend to get hijacked, right? And one of the guys that was in on that was a guy by the name of Burton Kaplan. Do you know of this individual around Brooklyn at that time?
What was his name?
Burt Kaplan.
No.
He ended up being a gas pipe guy, and he's the one that set up the whole mafia cops thing. Jewish guy with glasses.
Really?
Yeah. He was running around back then also. Let's see. The gold bug. Yeah. So Paulie Vario, though, what was he like? They made him a little too handsome in Goodfellas, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he might. I mean, I don't want to judge men, but he's highly unattractive.
Yeah, he was a real good. He was really who he was. You know what I mean? He believed in it. He believed in who he was, and he lived that lifestyle, and that's it. You know, there was no bullshitting him. You know, trying to con him, saying it's not this way, the right way. Take a walk. You know. He put up with Henry Hill for a long time because Henry grew up with them as a kid, you know, and they let him do anything he wanted to do, you know, and he became very overpowerful in his own way, Henry, you know what I mean? They accepted it. They loved him. They loved him like his son, you know what I mean? But even at the end, before he told him, I can't talk to you no more. You can't come here no more. I can't be with you no more. You know, nothing I could do for you. You gotta go on your own now.
Somebody asked up top if you remember. Of course, Roy's MO was illegal business, but what do you remember? Any legal stuff that he had going on?
Yeah, a bunch of
tax purposes.
Yeah, he had a few things going on. You know what I mean? He had something to do with dentistry. I know that dental equipment and stuff like that. You know, he'd buy and sell, whatever the hell it was. I'm sure he invested in cars, you know, that were legal cars being bought and sold. He had his money in a few different places. Exactly where, I'm not sure, but I know the dentistry was one of the businesses.
Yeah, I think I read in the FBI files that he had interest in I don't know if it was like a sporting goods store maybe too, or some shit like that. Oh, Pete froze. There he is. Roro, who gave us that generous donation before, she wants to know when you first met Vito, what was it that gave you a bad feeling? And I know you kind of answered this before because you heard about the Joe Scorney situation, you know, when they killed Joe Scorney. But was there something else that bothered you about him?
I didn't hear about Joe Scorney till after I met this guy. You know, I just came home, so I'm very on my toes, how you might say. You look at everything differently now. You know, you're not letting nothing pass by that is whatever. And I seen this guy, and I just looked at him. His whole demeanor just wasn't right to me. You know what I mean? He made me feel very leery inside. And it's one thing I learned. My mother always said, if you don't do nothing else, go with your gut feeling. And I went with it that time. I said, nah, this guy is not right somehow. Also, he looked very funny looking. He had a peanut head with a big body. He was like a cartoon character. No, I couldn't kiss. I couldn't none of that shit. I just had that bad vibe. I tell you, God's honest truth. If it was my way, he would admit the highway really sooner than he thought.
Yeah.
Fucking big mistake. I asked somebody, and instead of just saying, let's go ahead, They went and asked Roy, and Roy told him, no, you can't do that. Roy's rolling over in his grave right now, wishing he would have.
So you never heard of him before that? Because
Nah.
he claimed to be this big car thief. He was throwing out numbers. Oh, before I joined them, I stole 6,000 cars on my own already.
And
he was claiming to be like this.
Resume, what can I tell you? I consider some shit. He wrote that. Let's see, my next book, all right. Well, I wrote 6,500. What do you want to do? He's writing his own resume. So what can I tell you? I never knew this guy. I tell you the truth, I would have never wanted to be with this guy. He just gave me that weird feeling, That's just bad.
Yeah. He might have tried to turn you out. You never know. Mr. Al Pacino over here.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got that photo.
He said it right in the courtroom. He said, Pete would never shake me and kiss me and everything. There you go. Yeah. I got a picture that somebody sent me. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can find it for you.
A picture of you?
Yeah, this is during the day, back with Al Pacino.
Oh, shit. Is it an old picture?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see it. I don't have the other one loaded up over here. That's why.
There it is.
Yeah, put it up to the screen.
See that? I see that bigger.
Yeah, put it up more.
Okay, where is it? How is it?
Put it in front of your face.
It's probably right over there. Now. Okay,
no. You got to hold it up to your face, in front of your face. Oh, shit. That's you, huh? That's Serpico.
That's what. It's just what they say. As a matter of fact, I got.
It does look like you in that photo with the car.
Anyhow, I went before this Judge Knapp, and Judge Knapp was the guy that did the.
Judge Knapp, right? The Knapp Commission.
Yeah, I forgot. And he kept looking at me, right? And he kept looking at me. I said to him, "What the fuck's the matter with this guy?" He says, "You remind him of that guy Serpico." I said, "Is that what he said?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, tell him cut me free then." I was undercover, Your Honor.
Yeah, I was undercover. Right. Somebody asked. It's another good question up over here. Oh, what was the kindest thing that you saw Roy do? Did he ever do anything really generous?
Yes, he helped a lot of people in the neighborhood.
He helped a lot of people in the neighborhood. Okay.
Whatever he could, somebody come to him and they didn't have their rent or something was going around that he could justify, he would do it. You know what I mean? He kind of, something I told you about Roy, that was his whole life. You know what I mean? So being as part of his whole life, part of that life comes from movies and stuff. How the old dons in the neighborhood, took care of what they could to help people. He was like that. He had a good heart like that. I don't know about the other half, but that part was,
You think he feared anybody?
Did he fear anybody? I believe if you don't fear nobody or anything like that, that should make you a serial killer. Scared of that, there's something definitely wrong with you. But he never showed it in my eyes. You know what I mean? I never seen him back down. I told you once before, if you want to do something with him, he'd be the first one instead of waiting like you're supposed to. But that was Roy. That's who he was. Did he fear anything? No, I tell you why. He didn't fear the ice pick guy, whatever the hell is it. Told him where to go, put him right down. And if anybody feared anybody, that's the guy you should have feared, I guess, a little bit.
The ice pick, you called him? Yeah, he's a piece of shit. We were talking about him before you came on, Richard Kuklinski. Yeah. Here's another question I have for you, Pete. Was there any, if you could answer it, was there anyone that you knew ever that maybe lost their life that you felt bad about? You felt bad about hearing about it?
I felt bad about it, yes. I still do to this day, yes.
So there is somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Breaks my heart when I think about it. This person's never in a million years ever been hurt. But that fucking Harvey, excuse my language, chicken shit motherfucker.
Harvey, it was because of something Harvey did.
Something that Harvey had set up and went bad right away. You know what I mean? He didn't deserve it. I know for a fact in my heart, I'd put my life on the line that this kid never said nothing, not a word.
Okay.
Anyhow, yes.
Yeah. Rough life, Pete.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. At that time, of course, there's a lot of car thieves. There's a lot of it's big business, right? Stealing cars.
Yeah.
John Quinn. This is another person who we've spoken about before. I don't know if there's a misconception if he was an independent guy, or was he in fact working for Roy, or was he working with Patty Testa? Like, what was his deal?
I would say he was very independent. He worked with a lot of guys. He worked with guys from Manhattan, Capos there and stuff. He did a lot of things. He did things with heavy duty equipment. The guy knew his shit. Ain't no doubt about it, man. You know what I mean?
Manhattan, what, like Genovese guys?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I heard the Capo say one day to Roy, Roy told him, he says, this guy's no good, but the guy says, well, I make $100,000 with him a year, so I didn't say nothing. Roy looked at me, I says, I want to say, what the fuck, man? How's that work? In other words, $100,000 by you get out of jail free card?
Yeah.
Same guy 2 weeks afterwards, found out that John was testifying against him. Oh, Roy, you got to help me. I don't know what happened after that, but ain't that funny?
That is funny. And that's interesting because at the time he gets killed. He's going to testify. He's also caught up in a Wall Street
scandal,
stock bond scandal with some guys and other families that are getting caught up with him in this scheme. That's something that is also going on in John Quinn's life. Something that's not mentioned in a book about you guys, which I thought would have been interesting for them to put that in there, just to paint more of a picture of this guy, really what he's involved in. But as far as before the Empire Boulevard operation, because it was so lucrative and it was such a cool way of disposing of cars, it was such like a ingenious plan. Where were these cars going before that? Where were you sending them? They just get chopped up? Did they just get chopped up or sold out of state?
Sold out of state, chop shops, all that, But that was the big one right there. That was the one that was like the golden egg, Gooks laid the golden egg. First of all, the best part about it, they were out of the country. They were gone. So there's no way anything could be traced back, nothing. That was a beautiful thing. Once they left that dock, you were home free. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like, somebody just see that car driving around and say, what happens to my car? Ain't happening. Unless you visited Kuwait, but that'd be a miracle.
I bet some of those cars are still on the road over there.
Where?
In the Middle East.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, you know what? They've been through a decent amount of war over there, so there's a good chance they're not around, but might be.
Told you, they found that one. I don't know how they found it in the desert, in the sand, and they got that thumbprint off it. That, to me, that's like...
That's crazy.
Shit,
that's crazy, yeah. So here's a question from BX. BX says, obviously everybody knows about the Cuban crisis, whatever, with Chris. Do you think Chris knew that he would lose his life over that, or was he really that naive, or did he think he had a get out of jail card with Roy? Because he doesn't take me as the type of guy to walk into his death and be like, I'm going to accept my fate. It is what it is.
Well, he had this thing that he lived a charmed life because of Roy, but he didn't know that when it finally came down, that Roy had an ultimatum. You know what I mean? And he had no choice, basically. And I thought, from what I hear, after he did it, tears were coming out of his eyes. Roy's. I mean, he really cared for this kid for some reason, whatever. You know what I mean? Right. But I don't believe that he ever had any inkling that it would come down to that,
so stupid. Like when you look at what he did, and if he would have just changed 5 minutes of his life and just went through with a normal deal that he had, it was just a regular deal like any other day. Make the deal, go home, do what you got to do. Was he catching a delusion himself? Was he on fucking drugs? Like, what was his deal day to day? What was it like being around Harvey Chris Rosenberg? Was he like pummeling coke in his nose every minute? Like, what the fuck is with this guy?
His thing, his habitual habit, his thing was money. He didn't look at the overall picture. Here you got a beautiful thing coming from Florida to New York at the best price in the world, the best stuff in the world. Why would you do that? Why would you? When that could have been, you would have made 20 times that. But money now, fuck everything. That's him. That's what happened.
So bad that he even killed 2 people that he knew from his childhood. He got 2 people that he knew from when he was younger involved in it. The Padnick family. Pretty sickening stuff. Pete, Paulie Dibbs, do you remember the first car you stole? And I think he asked, what were you paid for it? And do you remember the last car you stole?
Stole personally or for profit?
Personally. For profit, because he asked what you were paid for it.
Oh, was I paid for it? Okay. First car, let's think about it. I think it was a Ford Marquis because I hated them cars. They were the hardest cars at that time. They wanted a Marquis, the guy in the body shop. And to tell you the truth, you had to be a certain color, this and that. And it was only $150. Forget about it. You got to drive all over the freaking world to find it. Then you got to hope you get it. Yeah, that was probably it. $150 is big money then. So they say. Now forget it.
Do you remember the last car you stole? That won't get you in trouble.
The last car I stole. I think it was a V12 Jaguar.
Really? A V12 Jaguar?
It just came out, and fucking car was fucking. It was terrible color. It was pea green, but it was
pea
a V12.
Green.
Yeah. So
What'd you do with that?
Huh?
What'd you do with that?
Tagged it up, right? Drove it down to Florida. I rented their place. I put it on for sale. And this guy calls me up, and he's interested in buying a car. I'm asking $30,000 for this car, right? That time that was a score. So the guy comes down, he drives it, he likes it, right? So he tells me, meet me at Miracle Mile at this bank tomorrow. I said, sure, no problem. So we go there, right? So this got an elevator going up to the second floor of the bank, right? So I'm wearing my wife beater t-shirt on and stuff like that. And I'm going to be out, and this guy's looking at me. And I'm saying, what's the matter with this guy now? Is this a setup? He says, can I ask you a question if you don't mind? I says, yeah, go ahead, what's the problem? He says, your name is so-and-so. I says, yeah. He said, but you got Pete on your arm. I said, holy shit. I said, that's kind of personal. Oh, he said, well, no, that's okay with me. I said, I got nothing about that. He said, I got no qualms about who you. As soon as I got the fuck out and got home, I went right there. That Tony on Lefferts Boulevard. I said, cover that fucker. I just put a little skunk on it.
Is that a Tony Polito right there? Let me see that. You got to send me a picture of that, Pete.
Oh, man,
so Pete's talking about so the guy saw your name tattooed, Pete.
Yeah.
And he thought you were a Vito Arena type. And
yeah.
So you had to make up a joke that because you told him a fake name. What was the name you gave him?
I forgot at the time, but I was dropping it. He said, he's looking at him saying, what's up? I thought maybe going up to the second floor and being set up, I said, fuck, man, I can't get out of here. I'm in the elevator. And when he said that, I said, oh, shit. I said, it's kind of personal. Right away, this guy got very defensive. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean no offense. Hey, $30,000. You can tell me everything you want.
Yeah. So that tattoo on your arm, Pete, you got to send me a picture of that one.
And then I'm going to tell you a story behind how I got the name on my arm next time.
Yeah, because the guy that did that, you said Fat Tony on Lefferts. That's Tony Polito, old Calcutta tattoo.
Oh, that's great, man.
Legendary. For those of you who don't know, legendary Brooklyn tattoo artist. If for those of you who don't know, tattooing was illegal in New York City until 1996. I think 1996. But Tony Polito was operating in Brooklyn from like the 60s until the 90s or whatever. You just had to, and he passed away in the 2000s. But I know people who he's mentored, and interesting guy, Pete. I know you know who this guy is. I know you've heard this name, Pete. I know you heard of Sal DeSaro because I know you're from fucking Canarsie, Pete. Crazy Sal. I know you know who Crazy Sal is. So Tony Polito did a tattoo on Crazy Sal's chest, which was the cowboy, was with the skull and the cowboy hat, and it ended up on the front page of the Daily News when he killed police officer Cecil Sledge in the 69 in the precinct there. Right, so. Tony Polito's tattoo is famous because of that Sal DeSaro incident. You remember Crazy Sal, though, don't you, Pete?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy Sal was crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's just like that neighborhood had like a few nuts in it, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? But Crazy Sal, yeah.
And for those of you, I'm going to bring it up for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. I did a story on my channel on this Crazy Sal, Pete, where I talked about the tattoo artist Tony Polito, and I interviewed one of Tony Polito's, I guess you could say, proteges, a tattoo artist that's a friend of mine, who taught him a lot about tattooing and everything. But I just want to bring up, the tattoo so everybody knows, and I think you'd get a kick out of it too, Pete. You might even remember it though.
You gotta see it. I never knew Fat Tony's last name. That's all I knew was Fat Tony.
Tony Polito. Yeah. He passed away, I'm going to say, in the 2010s, he passed away.
He had some line outside. His whole alleyway, always up to the sidewalk. People waiting.
I heard. So there you go right there, Pete.
It's Crazy Sal.
Crazy Sal, yeah. And if you guys could see the tattoo on the chest there.
Look at his eyes. You can tell he's crazy.
So that tattoo is very famous now. It was around before Polito did it, but Polito kind of made it famous, and there's a tradition of people that do it now. And you know what, Pete? This might blow your mind, Pete, because you're a Canarsie guy, but this style of tattooing, traditional American tattooing is what you would call it. There's people in Japan, people all over the world who get that tattoo, Pete. You know what they call it? The Crazy Sal.
They call it crazy.
They call it the Crazy Sal. Now, Tony Polito never liked it. He called it the Rough Rider tattoo because he fucking hated Crazy Sal, but he just tattooed him because for whatever, he just tattooed him. But yeah, you got people all over the world calling this fucking tattoo the Crazy Sal after some nut job in Canarsie who killed a police officer in the early 80s. And that's probably, judging on his reputation, that's probably not the only person he took out. But do you remember anything about this character? Anything you could share at all? Crazy Salvatore DeSaro.
You didn't want to go in a lounge or something when he was in there. You never know when he was going to go up. He's like a firecracker. Sitting there talking next to he's up there. What the fuck, man? And I avoided all those situations. You know what I mean? I seen enough shit go down in that kind of situation with. Anyhow.
But he was like a fucking Lone Ranger. He was knocking off like donut shops and just robbing places. He had went to jail before that for something. They gave him a break, as they did with so many people back then, for whatever reason. And then he kills a cop. And
no more breaks. Put the brakes on, and then
brakes are on. He's still in prison now.
Yeah,
he still sits in prison now. He's been up for parole a bunch of times, but they don't let cop killers out that easy.
No, they don't. They feel that you're not only society, but they feel that you're disrespecting the authority of this society by. He's a police officer. He's here to help and help serve all that good shit. And you kill him? Nah. I'm pretty sure he had a rough time in prison. I don't know which prison he went into, but they frown on that pretty well.
Yeah, upstate somewhere. Yeah, I don't remember where he was last. He might have been in Clinton. I'm not too sure. I know he's tried to get out a few times. Paulie Dibs, nice ink, Ed Hardy style. Yeah, a traditional American traditional tattooing is.
That was phenomenal. I mean, this was done. This was mine was done over 50-something years ago, and it still got color in it.
You gotta give me that picture because I need to show that to some people. That you gotta no. You gotta tell Shay to take a picture of it. Take a picture of it and send it to me. I don't want you to start getting naked on stream. But that, you know what, Pete? That's like some people look at that as. Say it again.
I'm gonna make it take a real close up so you could see the original thing that was there. You just, if you look at the right spot, you'll see.
Yeah.
And then when I tell you the story how I got that, you can say, "Oh no, that's not true, Pete." I'm gonna say, "Yeah, it is."
Yeah. Yeah. No, because that's historical. People that are into tattoo, especially New York City tattoo history, your arm like that's like a historical piece. People really get a kick out of that, because there's not many people walking around with Tony Polito tattoos anymore. They're a dying breed, so to speak.
Yes, it's a long time ago, buddy.
Yeah, that's awesome. You see where we go? We're talking about tattoos. That's great. Let me see. A couple of more questions here. Swish Rip, Sal DeSaro is incarcerated in New York State prison still since the 1980s for killing police officer Cecil Sledge. Yeah. Oh, people asking people about meeting. Paulie Dibs. Did you ever meet any of the Westies guys? Other than Roy and Jimmy, were the Westies and the Gemini crew, how close were they? Go ahead. Let's hear it. Let's hear some Westies.
I met Mickey. And I told you a story that one time we would, what's his name again? Not Mickey's partner there.
Coonan?
Coonan, yeah. He's in the car with us, right? He's in the front seat of the drive, right? So a friend of mine says, pull down that driveway, right? We pull down the driveway. When we got to the end of the driveway, man, it looked like a dead end, right? And he fucking freaked whatever happened.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And he ran. I said, what the fuck's with that guy? He says, you probably thought he was getting whacked. I go, holy shit. Yeah.
Any other, were they around the Gemini a lot or not really?
No, they really never came down today. They stayed back where they were, the Westies said. That was their turf. They really leave it, Hell's Kitchen, stuff like that.
There was this situation, whether it's true or not. I'm not sure if this is mentioned in the Westies book or Murder Machine, where something about Danny Grillo, I guess Coonan or Featherstone or one of them felt that he was plotting to murder them, and almost so that he tried to set something up in a parking lot or something like that. So then they had a plan to kill Grillo and fucking shoot up, machine gun the Gemini Lounge or something. You ever heard some story like that?
No, but I gotta tell you something. That would have been one hell of a shootout because they're both fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And he was straight up crazy, man. Excuse my language. And the Westies, now, they were crazy, but now you got to look at the long run. Mickey was a Green Beret, all that shit. And what did he turn out to do? Turned out to be a rat. So, you know what I mean? But they were crazy, man. They did shit for nothing. You wouldn't believe how many people the railroad tracks, from what I understand, was like a boneyard. I can't hear you if you're talking to me. Brett? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I did it again with the mute. Did Pete ever meet anyone from the Paul Vara crew or Anthony Casso or Vic Musso, all mobsters operating in the Canarsie area during the 70s? And of course, you mentioned that before, but let me pose it to you this way. If you had to pick a guy around the Paul Vario crew and a guy that might have been around Casso a lot, I guess what I'm asking is like Lucchese guys or whatever. Any guys that you liked out of that side?
Yeah, Frankie. I like Frankie. Lasarino.
Frank Lasarino.
That's first.
Yeah. What about Frank?
He's a good guy. I like him. You know what I mean? Big guy, really big. He's a stand-up guy. All I can say is that he's a fun guy to be around.
Okay.
Unless he was on a mission, then you want to stay out of his way.
On a mission.
Yeah, stay out of his way then because Anyhow, as far as Vic Museo, I think I was at the bar one time, right? And I forgot what happened. Some guys came in, rowdy and shit. I think motorcycle guys, right? And I just came in and it was loud and rowdy. So I walked out and I left. So I had a story the next day about, he asked him to leave nicely. And they used this in a movie from what I understand.
Oh, yeah, this is the one you said last time where they got into a fight with the
This
bikers
guy
in
was
the
a small
bar.
guy like me, don't get me wrong, but this guy was doing 100 push-ups one-handed like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And he told him, he says, listen, I asked you to leave nicely. Now you can't leave at all. And they beat the shit out of these guys.
It's like a movie.
And he totally whaled them. Yeah, they never came back. So
Were Roy and Casso really cool with each other? Anthony Casso, was he ever around a lot, or?
I seen him a couple of times. I told you my story about him, so I couldn't. When I came home was when I really met him, because of what he was saying and doing with the girls that I knew, And I told you I went to talk to him, and anybody that does that in that position, how the fuck could you trust him, man? That stuff makes you think things that you don't think anyhow.
Crack.
And now you're in that position. How do I know at a whim, I just say, oh, he might say something, or somebody, or the girl might do something, I'm gonna forget about it. And I stay far away from that guy. You don't be that guy and do that thing that in the street that people fucking. It's very delusional, that stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, you can catch it at any minute, and that's it. Especially with him, he was bad enough when he was normal. When he was
You think he was experimenting with a lot of drugs? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. One in particular I know about. I don't know about a lot, but one in particular, I hope you're listening, Anthony. I know who you are. Your whole thing was taking a hit and blowing on the tit. That was a story I was told directly from the horse's mouth.
Oh,
now,
really? Take a hit, blown on the tit.
Yeah, that's it. So I says, but.
Well, he's not listening. I mean, unless he's got a Wi-Fi connection in hell. I mean, he's not listening.
Maybe somebody's listening that talks to him, family, whatever. You know what this guy said about you on TV?
No, he's gone, Pete. He passed. You know that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, maybe
he got hit with the C word during the pandemic. Well, I don't think he was doing well to begin with, but
something. Now you said that, I was thinking about it. Everybody that I know that was anybody that goes there, they always get the C word.
Yeah.
Every one of them. You tell me one that died of natural causes of jail that didn't die of that.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of any.
Well, the C word I was referring to is they don't like you saying it, during the pandemic, the C word.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he got that in prison, and he might have had some underlying shit going on, and that kind of just finally took him out. But yeah, the virus, as Paulie Dibs, YouTube doesn't like that. Once you say certain words, they start, oh, let me see what this stream is about. Is this one of these disinformation programs? So they start putting out fucking algorithms all over your stuff. But yeah, that was a contributing factor to his demise. And I assume he's in hell. I mean, but moving along. Pete, you know what I find interesting about you? After you get indicted with everybody in the DeMeo crew, right? You get 5 years. Some might say, you got 5 years. You're probably maybe the luckiest man alive.
Oh yeah, forget about it. Well, they screwed up a bit.
Not bad. But you would get out in the early 90s. And when did you get out? You got sentenced in 87, Pete, or 86?
86, if it was.
86. So yeah, you got around what, 90, 91 you got out?
91, 92, something like that, yeah.
Something like that, right? I'm sure you had some time served or whatever too, right? But you didn't want to go straight. You didn't want to go straight, Pete, from the time that you got out of prison for the Roy DeMeo stuff up until that point. By my calculations, you did 11-ish or 12-ish years after, because early 70s, you did like 3 years, maybe one, whatever, 10 or so years. But you
I had a lot of pre-college before I got to college. Yeah.
you did a few years in the 90s, and Pete, you did a decade in the 2000s. Is that true?
Yeah. 2004, I think it started.
2004.
Yeah.
And you got out in the 2010s.
16.
2016.
March, St. Patty's Day, 2016.
So we're sitting in 2024. So you haven't even been out for like 8 years. You're talking to this Momo somehow. You're talking to me. I don't know how that happened. But
it's a good thing.
But it's interesting, Pete, because I don't know how to classify you. Like what are you though after that? Can I consider you, are you still like a freelance guy? Like what are you doing?
Listen.
You just fucking around? Like what are you doing?
This is how it works. If I know at any given time I can get that phone call, you're back on the books, got a job.
Okay.
But because of all the things that I probably did my time like a man, you get a break now and then, they just leave you alone. You know what I mean? I can always call and ask if I need something, which I don't do, because if you need something, then they want part of something. It starts a whole chain reaction again. You know what I mean? And I know who my friends are. You know what I mean? I believe in my heart. No matter what, if I ever really needed a favor, they're there.
Okay.
And thank God they're home. You know what I mean?
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I think everybody could understand what you're saying there. But can I ask you, how do you get, if you get 10 years in the 2000s, Pete, which is crazy because I can't imagine, and I'm not trying to like bring up shit that you don't want to talk about. Your age at that point, you are in the early 2000s. What are you in your 50s, Pete?
Shit, yeah.
How does it feel? I mean, you're going away for 10 years in your 50s.
I want to tell you about Florida, a little secret. They'll do anything, especially when your bells and whistles are, we got LaFrocia. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm just another fucking guy that's been around so that, oh, no, this guy can help us out. We're going to put a wire on him. We're going to let you go to somebody's after-hour clubs where they got gambling going on. I said, these guys are fucking crazy, man. First of all, you set me the fuck up. I had nothing to do with none of that. And this is what you turned out to be. And I told him, I says, listen, all this bullshit that you're hearing is bullshit. The guy that I was helping out was totally innocent, a legitimate guy, that he was robbed of his stock and stuff that I had to go to work for, because I changed my life around in a legitimate company. And these people took advantage of him. And all I did was go back and get what belonged to him and put a company in stock and whatnot. And if you go to any one of those people that said anything different, you'll see it was the truth. All I got back was belonged to him. I never took nothing from him, never threatened him. And I says, but, I walked to this guy's fucking, his office, right? And at FDL, I said, what the fuck is the FDL? He said, well, just like you organized crime task force. I said, for pot? That's what this is about? And he pulls his stick off the wall, man. And it's a tree, like, And on the top is this poor guy, Larry Hunt, who never been arrested for nothing but taxes. Third generation coal mine business, right? He's the boss. This Douglas something, I can't remember his name. This guy's in his 60s, his CPA, never been arrested in his life from Texas as the underboss. And when I got down as a street enforcer, me. All because of this fucking guy.
So they made this like organized crime chart, and you were like one of the enforcers.
No record. One time I went for taxes, and he paid every penny back when he got out. Unbelievable, but I just couldn't believe it. They just wanted us to roll over on somebody. That's it. And I'm telling you, it's the game they play. Truth of the matter, the lawyer says 3 years, Pete. You're gonna wind up with 3 years out of this. I sat in the fucking cell for 3 years, waiting to go to court. The judge says, why is this guy in here for 3 years for some bullshit pot case? Wound up getting fucking 15 years for that. The lawyer says, no. Talk about setup. You know what they say, though? It all comes around full circle. So maybe it's happening this way. Wash some of the other stuff out. You know what I mean, Brett?
Wait, well, tell everybody why why you got that sentence. What did they accuse you of doing? They accused you of dealing in something.
Trafficking in marijuana. That was
in the 2000s.
Yeah, I said, I traffic in marijuana. I said, you gotta be in your fucking mind. I said, first of all. this cop tried to lure me in so bad through this guy that set us up. I said, listen, man, I'm not in the cocaine business. I'm not in that business. That was years ago, okay? You brought me down here to see if I wanted to get involved in your body shop, you know, if I wanted to go in business with you. And now you got me. I knew something was wrong when he was talking to me. He kept walking around his office till he got me in a position where he wanted me to sit, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm saying, this guy must think I'm a fucking asshole. I know they're watching me right now. I just tell you what, you don't want to let the guy in that's introducing me to you. What the fuck is the problem here, man? I said, listen, you want to talk about anything else besides drugs or that? Fine. First thing comes out of your mouth about drugs, I'm walking out of here. And he fucking wanted to set me up anyhow.
Yeah.
I
want to say hi to Bobby checking in. What's going on, Bobby? Bobby's a good guy. Bobby is, you know, I've been doing this thing on my channel, Pete, about Stax, Stephen Edwards Stax, who was with Jimmy Burke and them. They killed him with the Lufthansa guys. But this Bobby here is his nephew, and we've been doing a lot of stories on Stax.
We talked about the guy that was supposed to get the trucks, get rid of the vans.
Yeah, the guy who's supposed to get rid of the van, and yeah. Interesting guy, Pete. He was Muhammad Ali's bodyguard. I have a lot of footage of him. He worked for Muhammad Ali, a lot of fights, and
you've been around.
Musician, bands, really interesting guy. So we've been doing things on him on my channel, and Bobby, his nephew, has been nice enough to join us. Really interesting guy who had some bad friends, Pete, you know, as yeah.
Remember I told you before, right?
Yeah.
Some people don't deserve, you know, I actually made a mistake. That wasn't going to cause nothing, because whatever it would have caused anyhow. You know what I'm saying? Right. That was a dead issue. It happened, all right?
Yeah.
But, you know, let's clean it all up. I clean it all up. Every time they ching, 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 they cleaned it up a little bit. Their pockets went ching, 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 that way. And went that way, then back. So, but, you know, they know that. That's part of the game. When you're just into that, you know.
Hey, Baywatch, what's going on, man? How are you? Yeah, it's sad, you know. There was another. Oh, so Paulie Dibbs wants to know how much time have you done in prison altogether? What's the craziest thing you ever saw while you were incarcerated?
I wouldn't know where to begin with that, but it's 2-2. I total.
22 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's craziest thing I've seen. That time with Carmine Galante.
Carmine Galante.
We're watching the news on 11th South, right, in MCC, New York, right? And these two rookies were on, and they come up, like, you're supposed to lock in at a certain time.
Well, hold on. I don't want to cut you off before we go, but this would have been sometime the late. Was this with the Cherry Golden Quinn when they had you locked up for that? What was that for?
I forgot what it's for. But it was,
okay, because Carmine gets killed in '79, so it had to be sometime in the '70s.
77, that's right.
77. All right, so yeah, okay, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. Sorry.
We're sitting there watching the late news, right? I got along with him, right? I was on a guy swallowed to me. He just swallowed, intimidated, son of a bitch, boy. And all of a sudden, come out. What are you doing out here? He says, I'm watching the news, you know, that broken accent, with that cigar about that far away from his face, you know. I say, lock in. You got to lock in. I know lock in. You better lock in. We're calling. Okay. He locked in. Supposedly, about 2 weeks later, right? These two acts, because you got to remember, you're right in the middle of Manhattan. You got fucking Mott Street. They're going home and they get stopped somewhere along the line. Next thing they wind up in the hospital for a couple of weeks, you know. So I'm sitting there watching again the news with him. But boom, the doors crash open, right? Who comes running out? The guards, a couple of guards, the warden, the associate warden coming. I'm saying, oh, fuck, we're done now. You know? And they come up, and they stop maybe about 5 feet that way. I'm Mr. Galante. And I'm looking at him, and he goes, yeah? He said, we want you to know we had nothing to do with them telling you to go in your cell. You stay right there, watch the news, all you want. I was fucking so impressed and shocked that they fucking warden shit came and told that. I said, oh, that's what power is. I mean, they came and told him personally. We had nothing to do with that. Watch the news. Go ahead. Come on, man. I was young then. I said, holy shit.
So they were messing with him like, oh, TV's over. You got to go lock up. And he took exception to that. And
he was watching news from 11:30, you know. And the locking was usually like 11 o'clock at night, especially on 9 South. There was a guy that's just that. Guys, gotta take a break. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay?
Come back.
Oh my God.
Come back. We'll be waiting for you. Go play that piano while you're over there too.
Yeah. Play it again, Sam.
Get some more questions in. We're not going to stay on for too long. Let's get some questions. Roro is dropping some of the Stacks Muhammad Ali stuff. She's dropping those videos. Go check it out. Check out all the Stacks content on the playlist on my channel titled The Stacks Files. Conveniently titled The Stacks Files. You guys check that out. Yeah, Bobby, what's up? We're going to do some more work soon on that. What else? What else is in the works? Check out my other channel, 52 Topics with Frank Fiordolino. We are doing okay. We dropped our first video on Friday night. We premiered our first one, and it's looking like by morning we might actually hit around 3,000 views on that. Building up the subs, trying to get monetized on that channel, trying to do our thing. Check it out. Por favor. There's the link. Roro is dropping the link right there. Check it out, guys. Episode 2 dropping on Thursday. Go check the channel. You can see what that will be on. That is, I got the thing right here. Episode 2 is New York City, 1986. We're going to be discussing the Howard Beach racial incident, the death of Michael Griffith. We're going to be speaking about the preppy killer, Robert Chambers. We're going to be talking about the Mets, and we're going to be talking about little notable organized crime events that happened in 1986. We're going to be talking about Howard Beach in the 80s. We're talking about a little bit about Gotti. A very interesting episode. For those of you who have already subscribed to the channel, you'll be glad to know that we have like 3 episodes already recorded and ready to go. So everything is rocking and rolling. We wanted to stay ahead. This way there's no crunch time. There's no bullshit. We got 3 episodes already done in the chamber. We got 86. We got the 3 Capos episode coming out. For those of you who don't know, Frank's relatives are actually directly involved in that. Some of you here know the story of the 3 Capos. Some of you are familiar with Frank Fiordolino as well. So go check that out. We do the 3 Capos hit. We're going to run it down. And I know a lot of you have heard it, but we're going to lay it out differently. And you're going to get some stories that you won't get anywhere about some of the individuals that were involved in that hit. That took place on May the 5th of 1981, I believe, is the date when that happened. Over on, was that 13th Ave, Diker Heights, I think. I got lost in Howard Beach in 87. Yeah. I'm sure you must have felt a certain type of way after that, Bobby, especially, December of 86 was the incident that happened there. So basically almost December 19th was the incident. Yeah. When Michael Griffith lost his life that night. That morning, the early morning hours of December 20th. Okay, Petey is back. Pete, you did time. You said you were going to try to find some photos. You said you had possibly a photo of you and Jimmy Burke locked up together, right?
Yeah. All of us sitting on the lawn. Yeah, I got to find them. My sister's probably got them, or maybe my niece.
Yeah.
I got pictures of some of the greatest guys in the world, according to mob history.
According to mob history, yeah.
I was when we had that big indictment, Paulie. You got to remember they had all the big indictments in that what's it called? The heroin case. What was that called back then? The big one.
About the Pizza Connection stuff?
Yeah, they were there. I met the old man from actually there. I met his son. Then we had the commission case, so we had all of them there. We had Anthony, all of them.
Yeah, you were locked up when a lot of things were going on. They had you indicted in 1984. Then all the commission stuff comes. So you were around. I mean, there was no shortage of
Oh no, that was a
I mean,
who
wow.
knows? I said, wow.
You must have. You were locked up with everybody.
Yeah, so we used to go. I went to court. We used to sit in the same holding cells at the marshals, behind to go into the court. So it was bullshit. It was funny though because at lunchtime, I tell you what, the nicest guys you ever want to meet are the marshals. As far
U.S.
as
Marshals.
I put them at the top. But there's a lot of good guys doing that business that are real cops and they're not pricks. They know who they are and they know who you are. You know what I mean? And so they used to come in once in a while at lunchtime, right? Trying to really be nice, bringing us some good food and stuff. And they'd come in there and they'd look at us and say, what the fuck, guys be eating provolone sandwiches? Where did he get this shit? He said, bring back the cart. Get us some coffee. We eat with these guys. I mean, yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, did you ever hear the whacked out story of when gas pipe? I think it was like when he finally got caught after being a fugitive. They were just about to go through with this wild plan to break him out of there and go into some fucking machine gun battle in Manhattan or some shit or Brooklyn, wherever it was. You ever hear about that wacky plan that they almost went through on?
To get who out?
Gas pipe. They were gonna do some fucking. Can you imagine that?
Nah, I don't think so. It might have all been talk because nobody really liked that guy. As far as I'm concerned, I know I didn't like him.
Yeah, well, he had his loyalists. He had his loyalists. Some of them might still be around there somewhere today. This guy, Scott Garber, says, I grew up on 80th and Flatlands. I remember Pete, Joey, and Anthony.
Look familiar, buddy. Hope everything's doing good with you. Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah. Cam medical pathologist. Well, I hope that works out for you, man. You got caught for a vandalism charge, and he said when he was in handcuffs, a cop broke his finger in San Francisco.
What precinct?
I was in San Francisco. I don't know.
Okay. Like I said, some people take that oath to be a cop. That's what they are. There's some that take that oath and they become sidetracked and forget who they are.
Sean MWH was Roy DeMeo involved. Yeah, heavily involved. Very involved. Heavily involved. Pete, how much do you know about that? I mean, I know about it from documents and FBI and this and that, but how much do you know about it personally?
I can tell you this: anytime you open up this trunk, you find a fucking million fucking porno tapes.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the big, like the real thingies, like the
the
metal tin.
He took that away from somebody, and that's how he got involved with the.
That's correct.
Iceman.
That's correct. You're right. He took that away from somebody. You're right. That's how he kind of got in with Nino. And some people believe the guy that he took that business away. Some people believe that is like Roy's first piece of work, so to speak, in the summer of 1973. Whether it is or it isn't, I wouldn't know. But how that story goes is this happens in Long Island on Northern Boulevard in Manhasset, in an area which we refer to as the Miracle Mile, Pete, in Manhasset, where they have the fancy shops. Billy Joel references it in that song, Still rock and roll to me. He says, "You're gonna cruise the Miracle Mile." He's referring to that area of Manhasset. Pretty strange thing to do in that area. In a nice quiet morning next to a diner, apparently. Mr. Rothenberg. But yeah, so he was involved. He was involved in a lot. He was invested in a lot of well, not a lot, but some establishments in Times Square as well. And DeGosta says, who was the best fighter in the crew, including Roy? Was there anyone that liked to throw hands?
Well, I'm going to tell you, hand to hand, I'm going to say Henry was probably a good boxer.
Henry.
And he's a good boxer. He could box pretty good, Anthony was a slugger, but Henry was like, how can I say, more of a experienced boxer. You knew how to handle himself with his hands. He was fast, good.
Okay. Simon 11 says, do you think Roy had a plan to escape? Do you think he would have had the means to disappear?
I'm going to tell you God's honest truth. Roy was told to disappear by a very dear friend of his who knew for a fact, I'm saying for a fact, what was going to happen. Instead, Roy went in funeral parlor, made plans for a funeral, which were his own, as a matter of fact, and told us, what else would I have to do? I don't give a shit if you don't want to do nothing, buddy. You got enough money to find something new to do. Just this is my life. This is who I am. He accepted his fate, I guess. I don't know. It just blew my mind that you would make your own funeral arrangements.
Yeah, that's crazy. Huh. I guess, yeah, because there's speculation about that, whether he knew it was coming or not, and he just accepted it. And you're saying that somebody told him it was coming, and he would disappear, and that's probably it for you, buddy boy.
A very reliable, I would say, very, very reliable source.
Okay, no, I believe you. I mean, I believe you.
I'm saying, and he just took it from that point on to go make his own funeral, which kind of like blew our mind. I don't know what else do I know how to do but be this. So you don't have to do nothing, man. With all that money you got, you could be a guru, South fucking whatever the place. Really, he just couldn't accept anything but what it was.
Yeah, you would think that. I mean, it would have been hard for him to disappear with his family. I mean, he was a family man after all, right? I mean, it would have been hard for him to. And then, and flipping is probably not in his vocabulary, right?
Right. I'm gonna tell you something. Paul might have still been alive if Roy didn't go. I don't think anybody would have did anything to Paul while Roy was around alive because.
Oh, that's interesting because people have posed that question a lot. Somebody, I just saw another creator, I think, had that in a thumbnail. Forgive me, I don't remember who it was, but that's something that always gets bringed up. Do you think if the crew was still going strong and Nino was not obviously in prison and everything else, do you think that would have happened? Or would there have been a war, like a Colombo type war?
Well, he would have been a very opposing factor in that. You know what I mean? He was like the Luca Brasi, okay? Once he was gone, they felt there was nothing that protect or hinder their way.
Well, they could have very well have felt that way, Pete, but do you think that's how it would have happened? Or do you think if Roy and those guys, and I guess you would have been by default with Roy, do you think they would have went along with something like that? Or they would have said, no, fuck you, who are you?
Well, if they did it, they would say it under their breath and not around them, that's for sure. But, I don't know. I mean, you got pretty tough guys say, that they were scared of Roy, you know what I mean? And that they had this in their mind that if you hurt one of them, you better get all the rest of the arms and legs because they're going to come. And nobody wanted that, really, especially with, I mean, he was a dangerous guy when he wanted to be Roy.
Right.
So I'm not saying that the other guys aren't equally as dangerous, but he had no problem stepping out there.
What would that look? What would that even look like? I mean, that would be a completely split. That would be a completely split family. That would be like one of those Colombo wars. So it would just be a complete.
Correct. Well, that's the reason why Dela Gross stepped down and became the underboss. That's the reason, exact reason. He didn't want to have no distinction amongst the same faction. He didn't want half of the Gambinos being this and half that way. He knew.
Right, Manhattan, Brooklyn, yeah.
So he stepped down and took the job as the underboss.
Right.
But that's the reason, because same thing you just said. He didn't want to have no dysfunction amongst the family.
Huh.
It would have been bad.
Yeah, I wonder how that would have played out. That would have been very bad. But of course, there's the other side of it where he could have just said, "Yeah, I'll go with it, as long as whatever, I'll go along with it. I get mine, you get yours. Leave me alone."
It's always that choice, right?
Right. But I think Roy fucked up from the beginning, Pete. We spoke about last time. He could have had his own fucking purple gang if he wanted to. He could have been. He could have just been.
Yeah,
he could have just been like that. You know, it's because I mean, I say it. I sound like a broken record, but you guys get indicted, and it's like 22 guys or whatever, and it's not a bunch of made guys. No, it's the Roy DeMeo crew. It's not a bunch of fucking made guys all around. I mean, it's Nino, it's Roy, and it's Paul. And then everybody else is just an associate who has one thing in common, Roy DeMeo. They're not.
You're right.
Obviously, some guys are reputed to be made later on. You know, so 7, 8 years later, whatever it is, if you believe whatever. But yeah, it wasn't interesting indictment. It's just like 20-something guys.
I look at it this way. Roy made twice as much money before he did that. Because once he did that, he felt he had to give a bigger boost to go upstairs, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he must have just had an obsession with
Listen, he didn't need that. Definitely. He could have been just as bad, well known and respected because of who he was freelancing. Because nobody knew where he'd come from then.
But that's another thing, Pete. There is some suspicion out there that he was freelancing. Let's just say, let me pose it to you this way. Maybe somebody in the neighborhood or somebody in another family wanted to pay somebody to do something. It's assumed that Roy didn't care, you know, what family it was for or who was it for in the neighborhood. If you were paying up and the reason was valid, okay. I mean, there's an assumption out there, you know, that, you know, he was kind of a renegade anyway. So it just makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Obsessed with having a button, I guess. Obsessed. Having structure, I assume. Being like his heroes, whoever his heroes were growing up, right? His criminal heroes.
Over there in the yellow pages. Come see me. Come see me. I'll take care of whatever you need be.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I want to hear Petey's tattoo story of how he got it.
The next chapter, you will believe me.
The next chapter?
You're gonna laugh.
All right, Paulie Dibs, the next chapter.
You're going to say, no way did you do that for that. I'm going to say, yes, I did. Power the pussy.
That's crazy. That's funny, man. Yeah, you should look him up though. Actually, you know what? Let me pull it up for you.
Yeah,
we'll save that. If Pete, maybe it's too long of a story, but we'll save it and we'll talk about that next time. We'll have a tattoo.
I want you to be ready for it. You know what I mean? Think about it.
If you have like any more stories as far as that's concerned, I would love to hear them all. The tattoo stories.
I don't want to interrupt or nothing like this, but I forgot it's my great nephew's birthday party.
Okay.
They're gonna have cake soon, so.
Of course, no, that's cool.
But I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. And again, I want you all to know, no matter what anybody thinks, whatever I'm doing becomes if this is going to help just one kid not be part of this. You don't need to. It's good. It was good. It was fun, and it was scary. Okay. And the thing is, it's not the way it was, and it never will be that way again. I can tell you that from my heart. I grew up when it was on ground level, and I've seen where it went. And I never seen nothing go so downhill my whole goddamn life. So if you're listening out there and you're thinking about this, whether your family's in it or not, do your best not to get involved. Who's ever in it, you know, go this way. God forbid you have a problem, go to them, let them help you. But don't actually become part of anything except who you really are. Okay, you'll be better off. You should be a cartoon I used to watch about this turtle. It's called Two the Turtle. And he was always wanting to be something he wasn't. So he'd go to this wizard and he'd tell the wizard he'd be best at that if he was only that. And the wizard would tell him, you sure? And he'd say, yeah. So the wizard would send him, whatever it was, a far legion, whatever he wanted to be. It was like 5 minutes later, he was in deep shit. He was running. Help me, wizard, help me, wizard. And the wizard would go, triple travel, triple tone, time to bring this. And when he got there, he thanked the wizard. And the wizard used to tell him, I'll never forget these words. I was a little kid. It's better to be who you are than who you isn't. You'll always be better off for it. So be who you are. Don't try to be something that you're not, because that's not what you want to be. And that's from my heart, guys, girls, who's ever thinking about this, please let me know one of you, whether you tell Brett or tell me that this show helped you decide not to go that route. That would make it all worthwhile to me. Forget about the money. Forget about anything you got to think about. But if I could leave this life thinking I stop one of these getting into something like this, which will destroy your whole life and your kids' life, I'd be a happy camper. So.
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Luckily, I have a good audience. I don't think anyone's trying to get into that stuff.
That's great, man. That's
and,
good.
you know, they love to hear you speak. They love to hear you speak about it because it's fascinating. It's fascinating to people like me and like people in the chat that would never even think to go down that path. So, you know, we find I don't think amusement's the proper word, but amusement, for lack of a better word, in hearing the history, hearing the stories and people's trials and tribulations, whatever it may be. It's very interesting. Of course, being who you are and being attached to a notorious individual. Pete, I know you got to go, but before you go, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, I want you all to make Pete feel guilty. I'm trying to get him to come to New York City. I don't know what he's doing. I'm gonna have to go down there and grab him by his neck and drag him to New York. I got him now. I could fit my hand around you.
Might fit around it too.
I'm trying to get Pete to New York City. Maybe make some comments, make him feel guilty. You know, make him feel like a jerk that he's not coming.
Watch a walk with old David so I get chills.
That's what it is, and we're gonna film it. We're gonna walk around. You know, Pete, listen. That book, Murder Machine, you say it's 50% true. I'll accept what you said, whatever it is, but it's a book that a lot of people have read. People are interested in it. People are interested in the story of the Roy DeMeo crew. You're the only individual walking that's willing to speak, that's been indicted with them. I thank you for choosing it to do it with me here and for being my friend. And I need to get you to New York City. So now you're on the spot. Every time you come in here, everyone's going to say, Pete, NYC, Pete, NYC, Pete, NYC. But yeah, you're right. I want to give you the chills. You're right. You're 100% right. I want you to come back to Brooklyn.
You showed me that Pentagon up on that roof.
That's right. That's right.
I go there. I can just see my hands.
That's right.
Like a field goal going by, touching me.
Well, I can't imagine it because I wasn't even alive. I don't know any of you guys or whatever the hell you guys are doing, but I get a fucking chill over there. So I can't imagine if you go back, you might get a chill. But I want you to come. We want you, like Sean said, we want to see you. We want to see you go to the Gemini. We're gonna film you outside. We're gonna talk. We're gonna have a conversation. Maybe we can go to church service over there on Sunday. We can hang out with all the Caribbean people, do a little dance. It'll be a lot of fun.
I'll tell you this: when you get up and leave, right, and I can't get up, it's because all those spirits are holding me there.
You fuck.
Like, Brett, don't leave, get me. Anyhow.
Oh, that's a good way to end. All right, Pete. Love you, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Love you all. Thank you very much.
All right.
I appreciate you.
Talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye. All right, everybody. Pete the Pick, LaFrocia. I had to put him on the spot there for a second just to bust his balls. But no, I'm trying to get him to New York. You know, trying to get him to New York. Sean Murphy singing a little Clash. All right, Clash off the album Sandinista. Very good, Sean. Very good. Do you know when the last time he was you know, I don't. I asked him a while ago. It's been a while, probably like 10 years. Do you think Ronald DeFeo killed his family or was a mob? Yeah, I don't know. He was trying to say after when he was incarcerated that there was this whole mob thing involved. And the problem with that, David, is that he kept mentioning somebody's name. I don't recall the name he kept mentioning. And I don't know. I couldn't find anything on whoever this person. I think he was just referring to the person by his first name, whoever this person may be. And he really never, I don't know, unless you know something that I don't know, David, but I don't think he was ever really clear as to where he was going with that whole mob thing. Or maybe nobody wanted to hear him out. There is belief that his uncle was Pete DeFeo, Genevieve's capo. I don't know. There was also word that his dad was connected with the mob in his dealership. I don't know. I keep running into dead ends with that. I really don't know. I went down that rabbit hole once before, though. Yeah. Interesting though. Interesting though. Pete, you gotta get over there. Yeah. 100%. 100%. 100%. They say a famous Canadian prime minister was at a Diddy party. Heard that online. Oh, is that right? Was that Trudeau? Was that before or after the blackface controversy when he had a turban and a blackface on? Thank you, Swish Rips. I appreciate everybody hanging out. That was a little off the cuff if you guys didn't notice. It's a little touch. Anytime I do these lives with Pete, and it's not a knock on him. He's just, whatever. He's got a life. He's doing what he's doing. It's a little touch and go. I don't always know if it's going to actually work out. Sometimes we plan these things like I'll keep calling them and I'll be like, hey, Pete, you want to do something? It'll almost be last minute sometimes, like literally. So, but trying to hold a conversation and see how it goes. Thanks for helping out in the chat tonight and asking the questions. I really appreciate it. I'm going to hopefully do another structured sit down with Pete where we release it like I was releasing the other ones, like the pick episode 4, episode 5, whatever it may be. But I like to do these live streams because you guys enjoy them. Glad I made it for when I missed them all to now. How old is Pete? If you know, just curious because he did 22 years. Yeah. Pete is 75 years old. 75 years old. Born in 1949. 75. Oh, you know what? He turned 76 actually this year. No, I'm sorry. He turned 75. Yeah, I want that tattoo story too, Paulie Dibs. We're going to get that, a little tattoo history. And I need a picture of that tattoo for historical purposes. Yeah, that's funny. If anybody else has anything to say, please go over to my other channel, 52 Topics with Frank Fiordolino. I would really appreciate you guys checking that out. See if Roro, maybe you can drop the link. I think maybe I'll pull it up on the screen as well. Give me 1 second. Just so you guys can check it out in case you have not. Okay. So this is the page right here. 52 Topics to Frank Fiordolino. Please go there, subscribe. We just dropped our first upload on Friday night. So far, I can't complain. Hold on a second. I gotta get rid of your comment, Paulie Dibs. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Doing okay so far. Can't complain. Just about 300 subscribers. We're starting it from the ground up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. Please go over there and subscribe. Sean Murphy says, what are these Venezuelan gangs about in New York City? They're about violence, as far as I know. Tren de Aragua is a gang. That's the Venezuelan gang that apparently was allowed to come here, set up shop in Times Square and other places around New York City. And yeah, they're bad. They're bad. They're bad. A lot of bad things going on in New York City right now. A lot of bad things. If you guys have any more questions before I go, I'm going to go soon. I'm going to continue with the other channel, 52 Talks with Frank Fiordolino. We got episode 2 dropping on Thursday night. With this channel, New York City is getting to be the weather now where I like to go out and film. I don't really enjoy going out in the summertime. There's a lot of people out. It's hot as hell. Right now it's fall, and then soon it's going to be winter. I like to go out and do all my filming, all my locations. I prefer the fall and the winter. Saturday and Sunday mornings, everybody's buttoned up, sitting home doing nothing, and I'm out in the street trying to bring you guys content. So I got some good stuff planned for that. Some Brooklyn walk and talks, a couple of Queens stuff. Some good shit in the works. I'm very impressed that YouTube recommended me your channel and video. Guzzo was an absolute nut, Frank. Did YouTube recommend you that, Paulie Dibs? Did you know? Did you just stumble upon that? I would really love to know. because I've been plugging it on my channel. If you missed it, I'd be interested to know if you actually just came into your algorithm, because that'll make me pretty happy if that's what happened. You didn't know it was you until you heard the voice. That's so fucking cool, man. Wow. I love that. See, that's what I'm hoping for, you know? Wow, that's really cool. Till you heard my voice. Wow, pretty good, pretty good. Frank was born in Sicily. Yeah, he came to the United States when he was 2 years old. Yeah, he was born in Sicily. YouTube put it on your main feed. Wow, that's sick. Awesome. Hell yeah. Love that. Love that. If you guys haven't checked my before I go, also I just want to plug the Stacks Files playlist on my channel. Please go check out the Stacks Files. The first video of that is me going to the location where Stephen Edwards left the van after Lufthansa heist on East 95th Street in Brooklyn. After that, we go to Ozone Park, to the apartment where he lived, where he lost his life, as you'll see in the movie Goodfellas. This is the actual apartment where he lost his life. In part 2 of the Stacks Files, me and Steve, the novice historian, we go over the FBI files of Stephen Edwards. We release a bunch of new imagery and a bunch of new stuff on Stacks, and we also let the world know about his Muhammad Ali connection, how he started working for Muhammad Ali. This is Stephen Stacks Edwards, Samuel Jackson, and Goodfellas, everybody. How he started working for Muhammad Ali, how he was a musician. And then on that episode, we also have a former neighbor of Stacks from Ozone Park, a professor, a meteorologist by the name of Rick DeMeo, who found my channel just randomly, much like, you know, in his algorithm somehow, and he sent me an email. Episode 3 of the Stacks Files, we release a bunch of new imagery on Stacks. Pictures like this one right here. There he is right there. Pictures like this one with his mask card. Here's another one with him and Muhammad Ali. Here is him as a child, and here is him with his band, Grand Central. You see Stacks up top over there. And then we also release a short segment of actual video footage of Stacks being interviewed for a public cable access show in 1971. I have about 10 or so more minutes of that footage that has not been put out. So if anyone who hasn't watched any of that stuff, I would really appreciate you guys check that out. You got it on YouTube Live. Okay, cool. You didn't know Polydibs? Yeah, please check out my Stacks Files stuff. It's a playlist on my channel. It's called the Stacks Files. Yeah, please check that out. I would appreciate that. I'm gonna get going in a minute, but let me actually no, this won't let me do this, so forget it. Forget it. Oh, it will. Hold on. Yeah, I'll show you what it looks like, everybody. I lost about 40 people just now, so half of everybody's gone. So I'm gonna get going too. But let me just show you real quick. See right there? Stacks Files, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. Episode 2 did the best, 51,000 views. But episode 3 is maybe my favorite because we put together a lot of stuff, and we had Stacks' nephew Bobby on the show as well, so that was pretty cool. I'll show you a piece of that right now. Yeah, I'll show you the video, actually. You guys can see the actual video. For those of you who have never seen this before. FBI files. So guys, check this out right here. If you've seen this, I'm sorry, but I just want to play this. Yeah. Holding him up like, oh, this guy, he's pushing through. Holding him up like, guy by the name of Joe. As you see on the bottom, it was recorded on January 31st, 1970. So how many, what are we dealing with? 55 years ago? Is that correct?
53. Yeah, 53.
53 years ago.
This is around the time too that he is bodyguard for Ali too. So
Exactly. Yeah, and he's gonna. There's the woman that's talking here. I don't know. The guy that's sitting with him is a gentleman by the name of Joe, who I've spoken to, who's still around. We're gonna get you, Joe. You're gonna come along. I know it. So I've spoken to him on the phone a couple of times. He was gracious enough to come up with that photo from before and to supply this footage as well. And I'll just let it play. And you guys make sure you go down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this footage. And once again, it's a lot longer than what you see here.
I tell you, we're going to the boat ride. All my people to the boat ride. I tell you, I work 35 hours a week on Friday alone. Just 35 on Friday. I take my wife, Anna Maria, Alberghetti.
Of getting the ring with him inside.
Well, I've already been in the ring with Muhammad Ali. It's just a matter. Muhammad Ali. It's just a matter of me climbing back into the ring with him again. Which I'm going to do on Friday in Miami Beach, Florida.
Oh yeah. And what about Isaac Hayes? Do you like him?
I like him very much. I think he's very creative. And the things he's doing is gearing black music, bringing on an intellectual basis rather than just the cliche or rhetoric.
Yeah, so I have about 10 minutes more of that photo with interviews and Stack singing and stuff. I've done some cool shit on this channel that I'm very proud of. That Stacks files that holding is probably might be number 1 or 2. Pete's up there too. No, that's the point of everything I'm doing with this Pauly Dibs. And I'm trying to hopefully reach out to, at some point, trying to get the attention of somebody that, is greater than me, has more power than me in this whole fucking world of, I don't know, making content, I guess, Maybe somebody will bless me. Maybe somebody would think I'm fucking cool, and be like, hey, buddy, you need a break in life. Sean, MWH, I was thinking, imagine if the church allowed you to have a look and film inside the church. Well, that's the thing. I was out there one day filming about 3 years ago with my friend Manny Grossman, and they were having church service, and we did look inside, I mean, we could go in, right? It's a church, right? I mean, I have the right to be there, right? They're tax exempt, blah, 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 everything. I mean, who is them to say that I can't go in there and enjoy the service, right? I also wrote them an email once requesting, whatever. I would give a donation and maybe I can get in there. I didn't hear back. I don't know. I don't know what to do. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's all, folks. I'm going to get going. You guys have a great night. Thanks for everybody who asked a question, who was hanging out. I appreciate it. I'll try to get Pete on again soon. I'm really trying to get Pete, out to New York to bring you guys real fresh content. That'll be the first time anybody that was with those guys would be actually standing in front of that place being interviewed. That would be history as far as I'm concerned, and I got to make it happen. So everybody have a good night. Pete D, my man, have a good night. Pauly Dibs, have a good night. Roro G, of course, thank you so much. Sean Murphy, thank you, buddy, for stopping by. Baywatch, everybody else. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. You guys enjoy and have a great week. Sean MWH said, well, I'll see if you're going to say anything else with that. That guy 64, Bobby, what's up, buddy? All right, you have a good night too, Bob. Thanks a lot. Shari, well done. Sean, thank you, buddy. Shari, have a good night. I'll speak to all you guys soon. Like I said, go to my other new channel, my podcast with Frank, and look out on the channel for more location videos coming up soon. Swish Rips, my man. Have a good night. Keep killing it in the card game. All right, latest.